Hey everyone, today's video is going to be completely doubling down on one effort and one effort only. I really want to kind of make this a little bit of a niche as opposed to just kind of doing a very broad range of subject. So it's all about a 12-minute effort, and basically how I try to get people to pace a 12-minute effort then. Today, for example, lots of riders going past me here. I'm actually riding fixed gear at the minute. For those of you that don't know, I'm riding a 66-inch fixed gear. I don't have a team bike at the minute, so that's what I'm riding. So forgive me for no power data or heart rate data or anything overlaying on this ride. It was just all about doing this effort with a club, Binya Cycling Club, who, you know, for those of you that know, my local cycling club that I tried to help out a lot with. And recently, very recently in fact, we've started up new rides called structured rides, or structured Saturday as we now call them. And this is the 5th or 6th week I think we've been running them. And it's usually the same faces, which is great. You know, not necessarily, you know, really fast riders. It's just riders that kind of want to better themselves. And you know, I always talk about it, that consistency is like the key to success really when it comes to cycling, and well, not just cycling but any sport, performance wise, being consistent. So a lot of these people have been, you know, come in the last 5 weeks, and it's great to see. This is a pretty cool shot actually, all their backlights lit up in front of me. It's a really nice climb, this one actually. Let's talk about it. This climb is the old Farriers pub to Trimsaran. The actual segment on Strava is called Farriers to Trimsaran. I'll put it up on the screen here as well to save you looking. 3.5k long, I think. It takes roughly, well, I estimated 12 minutes to get to the top, and it was pretty close. Quite a few people, not going to use names, but there was 5 riders. Rider 1 and Rider 2 are pretty close actually. Rider 1 I think did it in 9 minutes 55, and then Rider 2 did it in 10 minutes 10, and then Rider 3, 4 and 5 were pretty much close, but they were like a minute or so behind Rider 1 or 2. So Rider 5 is right in front of me here, and she does a great job. Like, she's been bashing out the malls recently, like in her spare time, just riding the bike for enjoyment. And that's great to see. But in terms of this ride and this kind of effort, like the last few weeks, like I'm sure you've seen like some of the videos I've done, we've been doing lots of like shorter efforts that kind of everybody can get involved with, because the idea for these rides is that they're like structured, they're like turbo sessions but on the road. It's like keeping them like very basically structured, so that everybody can get involved with them. You know, if you're watching this and you're only capable of riding 30 mile an hour, they're like an average speed, but you're capable of doing like a few hard efforts in your ride, you know, this could well be something you could latch onto if you live in the area. Like, don't be afraid to turn up to one of these things. But for this in particular, because we've been doing it for the last 5 or 6 weeks, I wanted to throw something into the ring that would be a little bit more challenging, and that included this ride, or this effort rather, which although the average percent for the climb is 4%, it actually starts off quite steep, levels off, and then kicks up quite steep at the end. So what I wanted them to do was to kind of set themselves a target of like 12 minutes and break the climb down. And when we break it down, obviously it depends how long it's going to take you. The longer the climb, obviously the bigger the chunks, I guess. But this climb, I said let's break it down into 4 3-minute efforts. And the first 3 minutes should actually feel like fairly comfortable. Not too comfortable, obviously, but for a lot of these people, we don't use power meters, we don't use heart. Well, yeah, we use heart rate monitors, but obviously everybody's different. So I could tell them ride 10 beats off your maximum, but that's not that's not the best way to tell people to pace it, because on some days they could feel like you know, really tired, they've had a tough week, and they can't get anywhere near 10 beats below maximum. Just general fatigue would stop them from getting there. Then they'd be wondering then, oh, why can't I push so hard, and why am I not actually getting the most out of this workout? Whereas it's actually because of the hard weekend work you've had that's stopping you from doing that, as opposed to like your performance. And there's lots of variables with heart rate, but I won't get into that. But with with pacing, we'll try to use for these people the scale of perceived effort. So say 1 to 10. So the first 3 minutes we're aiming at like a 7, and then the next 3 minutes we're aiming at like an 8, then maybe 8.5, 9, and then obviously 10 for the last 3 minutes. These two riders here, they're doing a great job. Obviously they're not kind of racing each other, they're only racing their own effort, but this is the section of the climb that flattens out. And I've actually kind of kept, now I know I'm on fixed, but I've actually kept the same heart rate this whole time. So you saw me like kind of hang, or what looked like hanging back for a long time, but now I've actually gone past them, just down to me keeping the same heart rate. Now we hit another rise, and obviously I back off a little bit, and in a few minutes they come back around me again. So there's things that we can learn from this, and like there's this natural habit that kind of, I guess, all cyclists have of just pushing on the climbs, or pushing on when the gradient goes up. It's not a bad thing, but like when you're trying to pace stuff, and particularly if you're racing or doing a time trial, it's really good to get into the habit of being able to be in tune with your body and pacing a climb correctly. Like 12 minutes is a long time for a lot of these people. You do a 10-mile time trial, and like 20 minutes, even for the fastest guys, is a long time to be in the hurt box. So there's no difference there. But like rider number 5 has just passed me. She actually did this climb the day before, and she rode it reasonably hard then. Not flat out, but reasonably hard. She didn't have a headwind like she did today, which was around about like 12 to 15 mile an hour. And yet today, with a little bit more kind of brain power and being intelligent with her pacing, she was just able to go, I think it was 42 seconds faster in the end. And that's like, if you think about like looking for marginal gains and things like that, like a lot of things just come back to just like kind of holding yourself back and like being intelligent and just thinking about what you're doing out on the road. Like I'm not a triathlete by any means, but, and I'm sorry to kind of bring this up on the channel, you cycling diehards, but the Ironman, like so many triathletes get pacing wrong, and it's the #1 reason for either a DNF in an Ironman event, or a catastrophically slow time. It's usually down to their pacing, and this is down to like obviously people are overtaking them, people are going faster, or they feel good early on and they want to push on. But it's really brave to have this thing in the back of your head, like that chimp paradox, where you're almost fighting the battle of the computer and the chimp, and you're like, am I gonna push on now, even though I'm feeling good, or should I just ease back and then push on later? It takes a lot of guts to kind of hold something back and then go later on. Rider number 5 now, like it starts to bite in this section of the climb as it flattens off again just before the last ramp. It's really hard, like because this whole 12-minute effort, like if you ride it correctly, it'll all be over threshold. So basically it'll be like 105, 110% over threshold. It's like a hill climb effort at the end of the day. I mean, I know we're on a hill, but when I was doing the hill climbs, I'd be riding them 30 watts over threshold. So we're looking at people are really going into the deep end for 12 minutes. So we get to this section where it flattens off, and it's just ever so slight. It's like -1, 0. It kind of teases and taunts you a little bit. And then this section here where I go past rider number 4, it goes down quite a bit. And one rider that did this effort has got a power meter, and his power like dropped off a little bit here, and it was like noticeable to the point where you'd be saying like, come on, it's time to like up the power, this is where you need to press on. This section just before that last push up, I can see rider number 3 in front of me, and I'm not really pushing on again, it's just keeping the same intensity, same heart rate for me anyway, up to this point. And
like, you'd be amazed, I think, if you just chose a route, even like not even doing it on a climb like this, if you just chose a route that was like an hour, but there was like quite a few ups and downs on it, you know, quite a bit of climbing, and you actually focused on pacing and pushing over the top of the climb and riding the descent if it's safe to do so, you'd be amazed, I think, at how much different that feels compared to when you just kind of smash it up the climbs and, you know, freewheel down the descents, or well, not even smash up the climbs, you smash up the first section and then you kind of come to like a a more of a slow pace towards the top rather. Try it out, see what happens. Ride number 4 has just gone past me. I hop onto the curb here to get out of the way of rider number 5, who puts in a really good dig to the finish. Sorry about the shaky camera. I'm literally all over the place. It's really hard to do this stuff and riding on fixed at the same time. But yeah, this is the top of the climb. It kicks up, and ride number 5 goes past me, and like I said, goes 40 seconds faster than the day before with the headwind. You know, and the people that come on this ride, they're absolutely buzzing. Like they love this ride. They love the fact that there's something structured to do, even if it's just one effort. And that's all we're trying to do. Like, we're just trying to like fill a gap and like give people some stimulus, because without stimulus and without like pushing your body and doing something different every time, it's always gonna adapt to that same response. So we took a left here, we headed back to the cycling club, and it's super fast back with a big tailwind. And you know, we kept pushing on, kept pedaling, and it worked out really well. We averaged like 21, 22 mile an hour back to the club for like, I don't know, 40 minutes. We're on a right storming pace. And but yeah, we rolled to the top here, regrouped, and it was a pretty fun ride had by all, and I pretty appreciate the support. Like, I love doing things like I said, I love helping out, and it just means the world to me to see people smiling and gasping at the top.